Hello and welcome to this session in which we will discuss the accuracy-related penalty. In the prior session, we looked at failure to file penalty and failure to pay penalty. This is another penalty, accuracy-related penalty. Now, these topics, where would you see them? Well, obviously in your income tax course, the CPA exam, as well as the enrolled agent exam. And that's the purpose of Varhat lectures, is to help you prepare for these exams. So the accuracy related penalty is a significant penalty, and you'll see it is significant, imposed by the IRS to do what? To discourage underpayment of taxes due to errors or misstatement. So they want you to be careful. How would they incentivize you to be careful? If you're not careful, you will be charged 20% penalty for the underpaid taxes. Why? Well, you might be not careful due to negligence. It means you're not paying attention, you're not following the rules, or you may disregard the rules or the regulation or purpose, or certain other inaccuracies. So they want you to do what? They want to discourage you from doing any of those. So when you prepare your tax return, they want you to be alert, following the rules, careful, reporting everything. This is the purpose of this penalty. Let's go ahead and get started.
Varhat Accounting Lectures is a supplemental educational tool that's going to help you with your CPA exam preparation as well as your accounting courses. My CPA material is aligned with your CPA review course such as Becker, Roger, Wiley, Gleam, Miles. My accounting courses are aligned with your accounting courses, broken down by chapter and topics. My resources consist of lectures, multiple choice questions, true false questions, as well as exercises. Go ahead, start your free trial today.
The first thing you need to know is the penalty applies to the portion of the underpayment of tax. It means the tax that you did not reported, such as not reporting all your income. So that portion of the tax that you did not report your income for, not for everything, you will be charged a penalty for. Or if you are claiming certain deductions or credit that you are not eligible for. Once again, the penalty is 20% of the amount of the underpayment attributed to these not reporting your income, claiming deduction or credit. Because this is how you end up with accuracy-related penalties. It's either you are not reporting all the income, it means reducing your taxable income, or claiming more deductions and credit, which is also reducing your taxable income and as a result reducing your tax bill. Now, what are some of the common causes? We mentioned negligence. So what is negligence? Negligence is failing to make a reasonable effort to comply with tax laws. And this could include what? Careless mistakes. You're just not following the rules. Failure to take steps to ensure compliance. So what could be some examples from the real world? For example, not maintaining proper record to support certain deductions or credit claimed. So when you claim a deduction, let's assume charitable contribution, you need to keep a record. If you don't keep a record, well, failing to keep a record, that's part of negligence. You might indeed made that contribution, but the taxpayer is not keeping the record. For example, failing to keep receipts for claimed charitable contribution. Also, you may not report some of your income from a 1099. You did some work and it appears on your 1099, you did not report the income. It's by mistake, you lost the paper, you forgot about it, you were negligent. Or leaving out interest income that's reported on 1099 by a bank. So claiming deductions or credit without verifying their legitimacy. Just kind of claim them and you're not 100% sure whether they apply or not. For example, claiming a large deduction without evidence to substantiate it. So those are some examples of negligence. You could also get this penalty from disregarding the rules. Basically here, you are kind of closing your eyes and disregarding the rules. You're not following the rules on purpose. Here it's like a case of carelessness, but it's a major case. You're reckless, you're not caring, you are intentionally ignoring the rules, the law, the regulations. This is not due to negligence, you are doing it on purpose. This is what disregard of the rules. So intentional failing to report income or deliberately misinterpreting a rule to claim a benefit the taxpayer is not entitled to. It's intentional. This is where it comes disregard of the truth or ignoring clear IRS guidance. There is no reason to interpret this or not following. It's clear cut, whether it's an IRS rule or a court ruling, and you are ignoring it. You should know better. That's a disregard of the rules. There's also this penalty that's called substantial understatement of income tax penalty, and this falls under accuracy-related penalties. Now, substantial means a major. The substantial understatement of income tax penalty is part of the accuracy-related penalty. So this is a sub-part of it. Again, it's imposed by the IRS to do what? To discourage a large understating tax liability. So here what they're looking at is, look, if you understate your liability by a substantial amount, a large amount, you'll get the penalty too. Now, what is the substantial amount? Well, for an individual, how do they determine whether the amount is substantial or not? Well, if a substantial understatement occurs if the understated tax liability, if that tax liability, that understatement, what you reported it by, is more than 10% of the tax required shown on the tax return, or $5,000, whichever is greater. So if you're understating your liability by more than the greater of these two figures, 10% of your tax return or 5%, whichever is greater, then you have a substantial understatement of income tax liability. Let's look at numbers to make sense. Let's assume a taxpayer owes $50,000 in taxes. That's their total tax bill. But the individual reports $40,000, so they're supposed to pay $50,000, they pay $10,000. Now, right from the get-go, 10 is more than 5. You're already greater than 5,000. And if we take $50,000, this is your tax liability, times 10%, that's $5,000 as well. So you are subject to this substantial understatement because you reported your taxes $10,000 less, which is the greater of both, whether it's 10% of 50,000 or 5,000. So it's a substantial understatement. How much is the penalty? The penalty is 20% of the amount you understated. Of 10,000 times 20%, you gotta charge a penalty of 10,000. Now remember, you get charged a penalty of 10,000. You still have to pay. Penalty of 2,000. You still have to pay the 10,000. Then they will add interest depending on how late you are. How about if you're a corporation? Also, there is a penalty for that, but it's a little bit different. A substantial understatement occurs if the understated tax liability, so you understated your tax liability, and that amount exceeds 10% of the tax required to be shown on the tax return, or $10 million, whichever is lower. For example, a corporation owes $15 million. That's their tax bill. That's their legitimate. That's how much they're supposed to pay. They reported $13 million. So they are short. They understated their taxes by how much? $2 million. So this is the shortage. Well, what do? We look at 10% of their tax bill. 10% of their tax bill is 10% of 15 million is 1.5, or 10 million. Well, 10 million or 10 million. So 1.5 or 10 million. Do they exceed that? Does the understatement exceeds that? Yes, it exceeds. Which one? It exceeds the 500,000. It exceeds the 500,000. I'm sorry, not the 500,000. It exceeds 1.5 million by 500,000. What does that mean? It means we have a shortage of 2 million, subject to the substantial understatement of tax liability, subject to a 20% tax. The corporation will have to pay an understatement, a substantial understatement of tax penalty for how much? 400,000. How about if it's a business and they claim Section 199A deduction, which is the qualified business income deduction? If you're not sure what this is, just know it's a deduction. We cover it in a separate recording. So simply put, you take a deduction. If you qualify for this deduction, it's called qualified business income deduction. That's all you have to know. You took a deduction. If you don't know what that is, you will learn about it later. Now, how does the penalty applies if you have this qualified business income deduction? And the reason is because the qualified business income deduction is a phantom. It's a deduction that's given to you because you're a business. So it doesn't really, there's no deduction. You did not pay for anything. It's a phantom deduction. Now again, if you want to learn about it, go to the qualified business income deduction lesson. Under those circumstances, the substantial understatement tax applies if the understated tax liability is more than 5% of the tax required to be shown on the tax return. Why 5%? They make it lower because this deduction is a 20% deduction. Well, you lowered your taxable income, they lower the taxes, so they can get you. You get picked up, right? Because 5% is less than 10%, or 10%, whichever is greater. An example would be a taxpayer claims a large qualified business income deduction and understate their tax liability by $8,000. So the understatement is $8,000. Well, the required tax liability is how much? $100,000 times 5%. It's $5,000. Again, $8,000 is greater than $5,000. Well, there's a penalty of 20% of $8,000, which is $1,600. Now, how much is the penalty? We mentioned several times, it's 20%. So you might be saying, what's the difference between negligence, disregard, and substantially understating your income? It's all 20%. The substantial understatement of tax liability is harder to get out of. So if you are understating your liability by a substantial amount, if you try to get out of the penalty, remember, if you're understating, you still have to pay the tax, but the penalty is harder to get out of. However, if both penalties apply, negligence and substantial understatement of tax penalty, you don't pay twice. The penalty is max at 20%. Again, the only difference is the substantial understatement is you're not going to get out of it that easily. So if we're saying you're not get out of it, does that mean that there are ways to get out of things? Yes, I mean, you can avoid, you can reduce, you can negotiate with the IRS. How? Well, for one thing, maintain a complete record. That's to avoid it altogether. Complete receipts, invoices, documentation. Also, retain income-related documentation, W-2, 1099 bank statement. Again, this is part under the record. Verify your eligibility. Before you make a claim, make sure you make a good faith effort to do your due diligence, whether you qualify for this deduction or not. Seek professional help if you're not sure. Talk to a CPA, to a lawyer, so on and so forth. Report all income, obviously. If you're maintaining a record, guess what? Report all income. Carefully review all forms of W-2 to ensure income included. Be careful if you have a side gig, investment, or other sources. Consult reliable sources. You can review the IRS guidelines and updates. Give the IRS a calls. Exercise due diligence. Always double check your tax return for errors or discrepancy before filing. So those are some of the techniques that you can do to avoid the accuracy related penalties. But when you talk to the IRS, you have to, if you want to avoid it like legally, you have to show reasonable cause. So you have a reasonable cause for underpayment and acted in good faith. Now, how would you act in good faith? You can show them you acted in good faith by relying on qualified professional advice. For example, here, part of avoiding is relying on some advice, relying on professional advice. If you rely on that advice and that advice was incorrect, you could say, look, I did it in good faith, that's why. So this is how you can avoid the penalty. Again, you still have to pay the taxes. The other way to avoid the penalty is adequate disclosure and substantial authority. What does that mean? It means when you file your tax return, let's assume you took a large deduction on your tax return, $150,000 deduction. Now, that deduction, you're not sure 100% whether it's legitimate or not. What do? You add an explanation, say you're disclosing, you add an explanation, and you put why. Maybe it's a court case, maybe it's an interpretation why you took that deduction. So the taxpayer disclosed the relevant fact and has substantial authority. Substantial authority means you have a more than 40% chance that this deduction is legitimate. So it's substantial. It's large enough. It's not 80%, but it's substantial enough. You attach an explanation and you explain your position. And when you do that, also you are raising the IRS eyes. They are going to review it. But why did you do this? Because you're saying, look, if the IRS find it I have no chance maybe of avoiding the 20% penalty. If the IRS find it, I'm telling the IRS, look, up front, I took this deduction. I'm not really 100% sure. I called the IRS. They gave me a vague answer. I looked at the literature. It's not 100% sure whether I can take it or not. It's a gray area. But I took it, and I'm telling you this is why I took it. You could review it and make the decision. At least if you do that, if you lost this deduction, you lost the deduction, but at least you're not charged 20% penalty for taking the deduction. You're avoiding the penalty, or you have reasonable basis. Reasonable basis is basically more than 20% chance that your position is correct, although it may be ultimately incorrect, but you have a reasonable basis. You kind of looked at stuff, reviewed it, and there's a chance this is a legitimate deduction. Now, how does the IRS determine whether the penalty is negligence, disregard? They look at the case, they look at factors, they look at what you did. Again, how can you avoid it? You show reasonable cause, you acted in good faith, you're not really trying to cheat the government, but you have to show it that you did this in good faith, reasonable cause, and it's case by case. Therefore, one case could have a different outcome depending on the circumstances. What should you do now? If you are preparing for your CPA Enrolled Agent Tax course, Farhat lectures, additional resources to help you prepare, invest in yourself, and study hard.